Hi everyone, we wanted to talk to you today about authority, right? So if you are making decisions on behalf of your loved one, you have to have proper authority to do that. There are two documents that are so important to have in place before you get to the point where you really have to start making decisions for your loved one because they're not able to make all of their decisions for themselves. So there is something called a durable power of attorney, and there's also something called a medical power of attorney. So let's talk about the differences between a medical power of attorney and a durable power of attorney. A medical power of attorney allows you to make healthcare decisions for your loved one. That's completely separate and apart from making decisions for them for legal matters. When you execute a durable power of attorney, that allows you to make decisions other than healthcare decisions for your loved one. So if you're selling real estate, if you're involved in litigation, if you are making decisions about banking, if you're opening an account for them, you will need a durable power of attorney. When we're discussing a medical power of attorney and a durable power of attorney, you're going to be appointing an agent. That agent is the person that you select to make these decisions on your behalf. And there's some confusion sometimes as to when these powers of attorney go into effect. So a medical power of attorney goes into effect when a physician certifies that your loved one is not able to make their own decisions. As long as you are able to make your own decisions regarding your health care, you can do that. The medical power of attorney goes into effect when you can no longer do that and a physician certifies that you can no longer do that. Now, a durable power of attorney, when we're talking about making business decisions, opening accounts, handling litigation, that can go into effect while your loved one is competent or go into effect once your loved one becomes incompetent. That's a selection that you can make on the form. The Texas Health and Human Services website actually has these forms available by link that you can download and review. You can use those forms. You don't need to hire a lawyer to draft those forms at all. It's important to have both of these documents executed early on. So when your parents are starting to get older, or even if they're not starting to get older, I mean, all of us really should have a medical power of attorney at least, and certainly a durable power of attorney as well, just in case you are unable to make decisions for yourself. So if you become incapacitated for whatever reason and you haven't elected an agent, then there is really no one that you trust that is able to make those decisions for you, and you haven't had any discussions with them about what your desires and wants are. When your loved one passes away, these powers of attorney are no longer in effect. They have no effect at all under the law. After somebody passes away, then there has to be a probate proceeding or an agreement by the family members as to how the estate is going to be handled, and almost always probate proceeding has to take place to make sure there is a person that has proper authority to pursue any type of legal claims or make decisions on behalf of the estate after your loved one passes away. So when you're trying to make a decision about when to sit down and talk about these things, this is very difficult, right? Because nobody wants to think about getting sick. No one wants to think about getting older. Nobody wants to think about the fact that they might be living in an assisted living facility or a nursing home. That's just not anything that we want to talk about. So it's the holiday season right now. We're getting to see a lot of our family members, and it's good to just sit down and talk about it, just in the most casual way possible. When you're able to sit down and have some time, just ask, what are your requests? What are your desires? Do you want to be kept on life support if something very serious happens? There's sometimes disputes with family members. We see that quite a bit. So if somebody is no longer able to make their own decisions, there may be several family members involved in making those decisions. And if you haven't elected that agent ahead of time and really had a discussion with the family that one person's going to be making these decisions, it really gets really difficult and more complicated than it needs to be. So thank you so much. I hope this has been helpful for you. Please take time to sit down with your loved one, find out what they want in their later years or if they become incompetent. Do this earlier rather than later, because once you know what your loved one wants and the family is aligned behind that, you're going to be able to make the best decisions you can under some difficult circumstances. And it's always better to know in advance what somebody really wants when they're no longer able to make their own decisions. So we would just encourage you to get these documents in place early, and we'll talk to you next time.